Good morning and welcome to the 2019 July webinar for Pearl Planning, Money Conversations with Kids. Today we're going to talk about strategies that you can use to introduce your kids to good money concepts early. I'm Melissa Joy and I'm host of this webinar and also President and Financial Planner at Pearl Planning. So as we get started, I think it's important to remember that your experiences with your kids are probably the most powerful impact they will have with money in their early and formative years. And this is critical because kids don't naturally understand concepts of money. And I think that lack of understanding is growing as money changes hands less visibly over time. So if you think about it, when we were growing up, you could see mom and dad writing out a check at the store. You could see a lot more cash changing hands. And nowadays, that's just not the case. So much more is digital. And by the ages of 4 to 5 years old, children understand that they need to pay for merchandise, but they don't understand the different values of coins. They may not even see cash on a regular basis. Further, as early as age 6, kids can have early concepts of money starting to firm up, and their approach to money may already be evident. And when you think about kids as they grow into the years where they will be making their own decisions about money as teenagers, most kids are looking to their parents to find out how to manage money, yet parents may or may not be taking an approach that is purposeful as they're introducing their kids to finances. So that's what this conversation is all about. We're going to go across age ranges. I'm going to try to keep it brief. So this is really introductory, but hopefully you'll be able to leave with some ideas about how you can start to approach money with your kids. So what are some things that kids need to know about money? Well, what is money? That's a very early concept, something you can start to discuss even as your kids are toddlers. Then, what do things cost? So when you go to the store, do you talk about looking at the prices of things? Do you have concepts of what you are willing to pay and what you aren't? Also, there's a difference between the cost of something and what it's worth to you. So have that conversation about the value and how you will use things. And then, of course, opportunity cost I consider to be a fancy word for trade-offs. So what are the trade-offs that people have when they make decisions with money? If you buy something right now, will it impede or hinder your ability to purchase something in the future that's really important to you, that you're saving for? And then finally, a little bit more sophisticated, what tools can be used to be successful with money? And this could be anything from the good old-fashioned piggy bank all the way to some apps that pay for allowances or early apps that would exchange hands for transactions like Venmo nowadays. So there's a lot of different varieties, and you need to start with the basics, but you can get complex over time. I think a critical concept for kids is learning to earn money. What you'll learn, and you probably know already, is that your human capital, your ability to earn, for most people is their most valuable assets. And over time, we hope that you'll be able to gather and accumulate more value in your personal net worth, but your ability to earn is a natural resource that you want to instill in your kids. Early concepts of earning money can come with allowance, and here we're showing you what the typical allowance was from a 2012 survey. So $6 a week for kids under 12 and going up to perhaps $15 a week, ages 13 to 17. Certainly there can be huge fluctuations in ranges, but it's a great opportunity having some regular money changing hands with you and your kids, perhaps tied to an earning of, a responsibility of doing something which could mimic work, but then seeing how kids use money and letting them explore some of the hits and misses in their own personal money behavior. So as your kids are learning to earn, it's not just about allowance. Talk to your kids about your job and how you or people in society earn money. Also, encourage them to get a part-time job, whether it's shoveling a driveway in a winter break or an unexpected snow day, opening a lemonade stand, all the way to babysitting and more regular service as kids get into their teens. Encourage kids to gain experience hopefully through a paid internship, but have them pursue interests in terms of careers, and give kids good feedback when they make good decisions with the money that they've earned. And then have them keep track of both work experience and I'd say also the money that they've earned over time. This can be a great way for them to kind of have a record of the rewards that they're receiving and also the experience that they're gaining, which is valuable to build toward more meaningful and sustained career objectives. So I'm going to go through some quick tips about some other areas where kids can get some good experiences, starting with saving strategies. The piggy bank is still around, and we think that that is a terrific ritual. I love the idea of counting out your money so that you know from time to time how much you have, and perhaps it's growing. That can be a good incentive for your kids to save instead of spending. I love the concept of the spend, save, and give buckets for money. Setting a goal for something that might be harder to save for certainly mimics some of the things that we think about as adults. Perhaps there's a wish list that is something that will require more patience and hard work. Watching money grow is wonderful, and keeping track, like I said, is a great way to visualize your progress. You know, when we go to work and we save in 401ks, often you may receive a match from your employer. And consider a match for your kids. If they're able to save $50, maybe you'll give them an extra $5 as something that mimics interest or a match. That can be very interesting and rewarding. Also, banking with your kids. We go into the physical structure of a bank less and less, but there's some basic concepts that I think is really valuable to use a bank as an example for with kids, because there's still an important banking relationship for most of us. So take your kids into a bank and talk to them about why you're there. Have them ask questions of the teller, and even go through how to make a deposit or withdrawal with the good old-fashioned deposit slips. Talk about why money may or may not be available right away when you deposit a check. You can even write out bills and explain how a check works and what it means if you write a check that you don't have the money for or bounce. Go over how to balance a checkbook, and teach your kids how a debit card works, what it's tied to, and compare that to what it means to have a credit card. And you may want to show them how to do an ATM transaction as well. All of this ties money in with the financial transactions that you do each day that may feel behind the scenes to your kids or just invisible. Most of us will be required to be investors in order to save for a successful retirement and other financial goals. So early investing lessons can be critical for kids as well. The earlier they are able to start saving as they have their career, the less of a burden they'll have on getting to their long-term financial goals or retirement. So some good, fun ways to introduce investing concepts to kids could include playing a stock market game so that you could get sophisticated. There's online digital games that are available to kids, but you could just pick a stock to follow. Maybe it's something, used to, we would say follow a toy company or maybe Disney. Nowadays, what kid isn't familiar with Netflix or Amazon? So that might be an interesting stock to follow and see what a fictitious amount of money might do so that you can see the ups and downs of a stock market over a few months or a year or two. Explain the concept of mutual funds and the other ideas of pooling investments, such as exchange-traded funds. Set a goal for a kid and maybe even start to invest money with them. Or another great concept, if you have been saving in 529 plans, which may be earmarked for your kids, is to start introducing them to those concepts with those investment accounts. Budgeting allowance, of course, is important. This is basic financial literacy. So give your kids some budgeting responsibility. Perhaps there's something that's important to them. Maybe it's clothing in their teens that you give them a monthly amount so that they can start to make decisions and know that money can be a finite resource. The same goes perhaps for using lunch money or, for older kids, make sure that they know the costs of transportation. So let's say your 16-year-old's driving a car. Are they paying for oil changes, gas? Do they understand the costs of insurance, and are they able to contribute to some of those costs as well? What you don't want over time is to have an adult child who is dependent on you for money. So all of these are setting the groundwork for the goal of financial independence for your kids early in their young adult lives. With giving, you could establish a give bucket and work as a family to make gifts to organizations that are valuable to you. All of the research which goes around high net worth families and the success of maintaining wealth often goes back to values and family values, and certainly charitable giving is one way to demonstrate that. A kid could ask for donations for a birthday party instead of gifts and have the impact of giving back. You could go through toys and gift them to organizations that would find them useful, emphasize volunteering in high school and college, and show appreciation for gifts. All of this is about making sure that your net worth does not define your personal worth, but it is available in a healthy way to set people up for success as adults. So be an active financial educator with your kids. Make the conversation both, more formal, but also a day-to-day conversation. Talk regularly with your kids about money. Don't make money conversations taboo, and be a positive role model for your kids in your discussions. Encourage kids to dive deeper in learning more about finance. In fact, I know I'm located in Dexter, Michigan, and in Dexter schools, you are able to take a personal finance course, financial economics, which gives you a lot of introductions to financial literacy topics. And overall, just know that the time that you spend on money with your kids is time well spent. This is where they're getting most of their education, because there's not formal curriculum that we take in beyond a course or two in high school and college. So as you take on the money journey with your kids, remember a few things. First of all, nothing is easy. Money concepts are not a get-rich-quick concept. Patience is a virtue when you're teaching your kids about money. So some important life skills also equal good financial skills, having a good head on your shoulder, being able to evaluate situations, make decisions that are both important and relevant to you short-term and long-term. Use everyday life to find good examples, and also, give kids room to make some mistakes with money where there are some guardrails so the consequences aren't too big. And finally, the reason that I like to do conversations about kids with money is because I can see the value that it has to my clients' lives. And I know many other financial professionals, whether they're financial advisors, CPAs, attorneys, also see that relevance. So partner with your professionals to help keep things on track and look for ideas on how to have these types of conversations. Well, I told you I would keep it brief. We've got this conversation under, 20 minutes, and I hope you enjoyed and felt educated. We will have a replay of this conversation along with some resources that I think you'll find valuable for helping your kids with money as a follow-up on our blog, which is at pearlplan.com/blog. But also we have both past webinars that we have recorded on that blog, as well as future webinars that are listed here, all available for you to sign up. So next month we'll talk about a widow's guide to financial decisions, and then in the fall, Social Security and Medicare, as well as year-end financial strategies. And so each month we try to make sure that there's content available to educate our local community and our friends network. I always welcome conversations and questions as follow-up. So here's how to contact me. I'm happy if you call the office or send me an email. And with that, I just hope that this is valuable information to help you on your money journey with your kids. It's important and valuable, so as you spend the time, know that you're investing in both yours and your family's future. Thanks very much and have a great day.